Welcome to Census 2020, using the census to tell your story. I'm Kristen Morrison, Librarian Senior at Lauderhill Town Center Library. So, what is the census? The census is an official count or survey of population, typically recording various details of individuals. A census aims to count the entire population of a country and at the location where each person usually lives. The census asks questions of people in homes and group living situations, including how many people live or stay in each home, and the sex, age, and race of each person. The census happens every 10 years. So why should we participate in the census? Well, do you like hospitals, schools, and libraries? When you respond to the census, you help your community get its fair share of the more than $675 billion per year in federal funds. Federal funds, grants, and support to states, counties, and communities are based on population totals and breakdowns by sex, age, race, and other factors. So let's talk a little bit about the history of the census. As I said before, the census happens every 10 years. It's released to the public after 72 years. So, for example, the census that we are participating in this year, in the year 2020, will not be available to the public until the year 2092. The first U.S. census was 1790, and it lists only the head of the household. And then it listed the free white males over and under 16 years old, free white females, all other persons, and slaves. From 1790 to 1840, the census only listed the head of the household, and then it was strictly a number count of individuals in the household. Beginning in 1850 through 1870, the census listed all the persons in the household by name, but not by relationship. 1880 forward, it began listing the relationships, ages, and birthplaces of all persons in the household. So how is the census used in genealogy? Well, since 1880, censuses can often help you reconstruct your family tree because they provide genealogy-rich information, including names, relationships, approximate birth years and marital status, birthplaces and parents' birthplaces. Some details shed light on your ancestors' immigration and naturalization, home ownership, literacy, education, childbearing history, neighborhood makeup, and more. When you're looking at the census, search for every relative in every census. Look for variations in the entries and read the entire entry, even the neighbors. So now we're going to access the Ancestry Library Edition from the Broward County Library website. And we've gone to Online Resources, History, and Genealogy, and we are going to click on Ancestry Library Edition. From here, we're going to click the green Begin Searching button. In the top search box, we are going to put in the individual that we are looking for. When entering an individual, put in as much information as you know or you think you know. And do not click the exact buttons. That will limit your search. And if you don't know the exact name or place place or birth year, it will severely limit your search. Click on the search. So at first you'll see all the results for John McCown. Ancestry has other resources in their library edition that you can access, including draft cards, birth and indexes, grave indexes. But today we're going to focus on the census. So we're going to scroll down, and we're going to start with the most recent census and work our way backwards. So here is the 1940 federal census. When you click on it, it's going to give you the information in the census, some of it, and we're going to just look here. John McCown, 17, single, he's the son, but it's always best when using a census to look at the actual record. So we're going to click View. We're going to start at the top of the census, where you can see here is the state is New York, the county is Delaware, and the town is Sydney. And we can see here that the census was enumerated on April 24th, 1940. So this is the day that the census taker came to the home to get the information. You'll see the different columns underneath that with location, household data, name, relationship, etc. Now we're going to scroll down to the family of John. And we see John here. We see that he is the son. He's a male. He's white. He's 17. Single. Has he attended school? Yes. H2, which means second year of high school, is the highest he's completed at this point. We can see here under birthplace, everyone is born in New York. In 1935, he was living in the same place. And we can see here the answers to the questions are no. Is he seeking employment? Is he working? We can see here that his employment details, S, stands for school. Up here, under Hazel, we see H, which means homemaker. When we look, we can see that John is living with Donald, who is a brother, Hazel, who would be his mother, and John, who would be his father. And we can see that Hazel has completed a second year of high school. His father, John, only went to the 8th grade. And Donald lists a C under education, meaning college. And college, the number is a little blurry, but I believe that is a 3, third year of college. We can see here John is 45, so we can use that to extrapolate his approximate birth year. And he is employed for pay. Yes. How many hours did he work the week prior to the census taker coming to his house? 90 hours. We can see that John is a farmer. His industry is farm. He's working on his own account. So this is his own farm. And he has other income sources. And we can see his number on the farm schedule. I'm going to scroll back over here. We can see that yes, in this column it says it is a farm. His home value is $4,000, and O is for owned. So he owns this house and this farm. So now we're going to go back to our search results. And we're going to scroll down to the 1930 census. And we're going to click on View. So now, when we raise up, I'm just going to increase the font here a little bit, increase. So now we can see John. He's a son, lives on the farm, male, white, 7 years old, single. Is he attending school? Yes. Can he read and write? It says it's left blank, but he is attending school. And we can see the other people in the household. Claude D., Hazel J., and John P. On the 1940 census, it did not list their middle initials. But now, on the 1930 census, we have their initials. We can see here that right now, he's an R. He's a renter of this particular farm. Now, with John P. and Hazel, we can see their current ages are 35 and 31 years old. And we can see on this census, it asks us what age they were when they were first married. So we see 22 and 18 years old. They can both read and write. They have not attended school in the past year. Here are the birthplaces of everyone in the household. So everyone in the household was born in New York. However, we can see that John P., the head of the household, his father's birthplace is New York, but his mother's birthplace is Minnesota. So that's going to give you a clue when searching for John P.'s mother. You would not be looking in a New York census. You're going to be looking for resources in Minnesota. We're going to scroll over. His occupation is farmer. Here it's listing if he is a veteran, which he is not a veteran. And this would be the war if he was a veteran. A few up above here, you can see WW. So that would be World War. And usually World War I, because World War II hasn't happened yet. And again, we can see his number on the farm schedule. What is a farm schedule, you ask? Well, a farm schedule lists all the crops and livestock on the farm. It's a separate schedule that a census taker would use in obtaining the information. Farm schedules, some are available and some are not. It depends on the census year. So now we're going to go back to our slideshow. And that's how you read a census to tell your family story. Thank you for joining me. My name is Kristen Morrison. Good night.